Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman. And this morning we have with us Martin Sklar from, let me see if I get the name of your firm correctly, Kleinberg Kaplan.
That's correct.
All right, okay, good. And so anyway, welcome to the show. Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me, Jonathan.
Sure. So it's still morning here, and I know it is where you are, and I'm on my second cup of coffee. What's your morning beverage of choice?
Normally nothing. I drink orange juice, but throughout my whole life, I've started eating around 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow, that's impressive. Is that because you're like intermittent fasting, or you're not hungry?
Just not hungry in the morning.
Wow, I'm the opposite. In fact, my wife makes fun of me every morning because as soon as I wake up, it's like I need to eat something. Literally break the fast. That's what it was designed for me.
But of course, I snack late at night.
Yeah. No, anyway, interesting. So it looks like you're a financial services attorney. Tell us about the type of work you do.
Sure. So my firm, since the 70s, has been representing hedge funds. So much of my practice, I'm a corporate lawyer, and much of my practice concerns hedge funds, private equity funds, investment managers. And I do fund formation, regulation, transactions, and activism.
Okay. And your clients are hedge funds?
Generally, right.
Hedge. Okay, good. Excellent. Once upon a time, we had a business that we sold into Wall Street, primarily on the sell side of the street, so investment banks and broker dealers, et cetera. And we would give them information so they could sell to hedge funds. I'm quite familiar with hedge funds, and we used to profile them, which they're very hard to find information on.
Right. It's very frustrating for the media because hedge funds are private vehicles. And the SEC has required more and more information to be disclosed. But I've spoken to many journalists over the years who are very frustrated in trying to cover the hedge fund industry.
The big ones, you have to file, right? You have to file, what do you call it, 13Fs, et cetera, if you own a certain amount of stock. And so some of them are more visible than others, but a lot of them are small and under the radar.
Right. Well, the 13Fs will give you some idea what securities they're investing in going back a month or two, but you still won't know much about, for example, their performance. If
Right.
you get a hedge fund statement, it'll often have all kinds of warnings about disclosing them to anyone.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I remember what a lot of people would want to see is their holdings because, Steve Cohen, for example, and maybe he was a client of yours. People want to see what he's buying, right? Because, he had a great track record and you wanted to sort of follow suit if you could.
Right. So, for example, people of that ilk will often use the ability to delay the filing of the 13F so people don't just copy their strategy.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, it's very interesting stuff. My brother, who lives in New York City, has a small hedge fund that he runs today.
Oh, you're very familiar then.
I'm very, 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 very familiar with the space. So it's interesting. So give me typical type cases that you work on or issues.
Sure. Well, first you have to set up the hedge fund.
And so you're involved with that, the whole formation and.
Yes, we're really soup to nuts on the hedge fund formation. So we start with how to structure it and for tax purposes and getting involved with Cayman Council usually to set up offshore and onshore structures. And then we'll deal with the employment issues and the trading issues. Very often clients will call me and say, some CEO just blurted out the following information. Am I now unable to trade? The way Mark Cuban said that in his case, a lot of that happens. And, despite what people may see on the TV show Billions, it is not usually the case that they trade on it. Instead, that people are quite concerned about insider trading issues. So I'll advise them on that.
Right.
And then they might become activists in a particular name, as they call it. And so you deal with possible proxy fights and filing the 13Ds, announcing what you're doing, press releases, that kind of thing. And then occasionally litigation, shareholder litigation. Typically we represent the shareholders against some company. For example,
oh, so you you take a plaintiff role for the shareholder at sometimes?
Yes, I mean, I won't do the nuts and bolts litigation, but I'll often be the one to decide whether or not we sue.
Okay, okay.
I'll decide whether or not there's a good case under the securities laws, and then turn it over to the litigators and work with them on this. Occasionally it's urgent and involves an injunction to get some kind of transaction.
What would be an example? Give me an example of that a shareholder complaint that
well,
would
the
litigate.
usual situation would be where a company does a coercive transaction to squeeze out bondholders, or a merger that seems to be a sweetheart deal and shareholders object, and the SEC almost never stops it themselves. They say, look, you're a sophisticated hedge fund, go to court. And occasionally do. In one case, Sims, for example, the old retailer, they had a heavily concentrated position. The family owned most of the company, and they decided to, quote, go dark, stop filing SEC reports.
Okay.
So we fought that successfully.
And are there awards? Are these like class action lawsuits?
Typically the ones we do are not class actions, but sometimes.
Okay, interesting. So shareholders do get some awards in some of these cases.
Yeah, so I'll give you the well-known example. We represented bondholders against the government of Argentina. You may have heard of that one.
Yes,
the government of
sure.
Argentina defaulted on its debt and decided to settle with a bunch of bondholders, but took the ridiculous position that the other bondholders had to agree to the same settlement. Now, in many cases, indentures so provide that the group can bind each individual bondholder. In this case, they absolutely had no such provision in the documents, and yet for 15 years they refused to pay.
Yeah. I suppose some people will try to get away with anything they can, right? That's where you guys come in.
Well, eventually they had to settle in order to enter the credit markets. They had to change of government,
Yeah.
and we all settled.
Yeah. Interesting. So, but you don't get involved with litigation. Is there a reason for that? Is that just not your thing, or?
Well, it's our firm is divided up into departments: corporate, real estate, trust, and estates, and we like to have the experts handle each individual aspect of it. Again, I would read the briefs and comment on them and deal with the substantive law, but as they used to say, I don't know my way to the courthouse.
Okay. Was that never an interest of yours when you went to law school? You never thought that you want to be in a courtroom and litigate?
Right. For a couple of reasons. One, I was never the theatrical type. Pounding the table and pretending to believe in positions I don't believe in was never me.
Okay.
I also found corporate law to be more constructive. At the end of the matter, usually everybody's happy. Merger, usually everyone's quite happy at the end of the day. You have a closing party. With litigation, there's often a winner and a loser, or in many cases, everyone loses except the lawyers.
Right, except the lawyers, yeah. Interesting. Okay, good. So why did you become a lawyer? I mean, tell me about that path.
Well, I decided very early, around 13 years old, I decided I wanted to be a business lawyer.
Really? Wow. Was your dad? Was your dad a business attorney?
No, my dad was an accountant and corporate executive who probably would have gone to law school had he had the funds.
Okay.
But there were no lawyers in my immediate family.
Okay. What was the influence? I mean, how did you have that thought at 13 years old, which is prodigious to have that thought at that age?
Well, my family was accountants. I was kind of bored by accounting. I could have gone into one passion I have is history. So I could have been a history professor, but I decided that just wasn't real world enough, that I'd be in the ivory tower and not really understand what's going on in the real power centers of the world. So I vetoed that. So it's sort of process of elimination. Law does do what I wanted it to do, which is I'm involved in all kinds of industries. Not just, financial services takes you into every other industry.
Sure.
They invest in them. So if you go into the carpet business, you know carpet, but I know all kinds of businesses now from my exposure to this area.
Okay. So you're involved with other types of industries besides hedge funds.
Sure. And not everything I do is hedge fund as well. Recently,
Sure.
I worked with a South American group to begin to establish a Mount Sinai hospital in Paraguay. So some of what I do is far afield of pure hedge fund work.
Oh, I say, well, because you're in New York, obviously financial services is the big industry. So that makes sense.
Right. And people do securities offerings in all areas. So if you're going to write a securities offering document, you have to learn about the industry that they're in.
Got it. Very good. Interesting. Okay. So you had this desire at a young age to become an attorney, and you found your spot. How long have you been at your existing firm?
Since 1985.
One firm.
Well, one firm before that, and that's it.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's also unusual, right?
Yes. Very, very unusual. So yeah, I joined in 85 as a young associate, became a partner in 93, and been here ever since.
Wow. So you definitely found your spot in life. That's great.
I did. I'm happy with the firm.
Oh, very good. Yeah. How big is the firm, and what other kinds of practices?
About 60 attorneys.
Okay.
And our other practices, as I indicated, we do a lot of real estate. We do a lot of trust and estates work. We represent, for example, the various hedge fund managers, even if we don't represent their hedge fund.
Oh, yeah. And you represent them personally for their affairs.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We have a sophisticated estates practice and litigation, largely in the shareholder realm, but also general commercial litigation.
Okay.
And we do bankruptcy, which also relates to the hedge fund practice.
Yep. Well, do you also do real estate bankruptcy as well? Foreclosure, workouts, that kind of stuff?
That's unusual. We do some of that, but foreclosure is not. Again, we tend to represent the borrowers, not the lenders. We don't really represent banks much.
I see. Got it.
If we have a client who happened to lend money to someone secured by real property, we'll do a foreclosure. But often the foreclosure will be outside of New York, so you need local counsel for that anyway.
Right. Very good. Interesting. Anyone else in your family? You said your dad was an accountant. Anyone else in your family become a lawyer?
Just a distant uncle. Other lawyers, let me think. Well, my brother-in-law is an attorney.
Okay. Any siblings do you have that? What do they do?
My sister is a retired accountant.
There you go.
Worked in the banking industry. She was also a CPA from what was then the Big Eight, now the Big Four.
Right.
As my father had been a junior auditor at a Big Eight firm.
Excellent. Well, what was the firm that he worked for that doesn't exist now? Ernst & Young. No, not Ernst.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to think of some of the ones that went away. They got consolidated. What was the firm?
They mostly merged. My sister was Arthur Anderson.
Yep.
And they got in some trouble later after she was there. And my father was with Touche, which is now Deloitte and Touche. So they mostly consolidated.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. And now there are all these, like, you probably are familiar with Marsal's, right? Some of these that are just work on restructuring and private equity. Alvarez Marsal's, like firms like that.
Yes.
That are like spin-offs probably of all those large.
Right. There are a number who are satisfied with all the mergers and dislocations and have formed their own. And then, you have a number who had to split off their consulting arms because they had so many conflicts.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, those firms have really sort of broadened what they do, right? It's not just pure accounting. They have consulting. They have law practices, right? They do all kinds of things outside of just strict accounting.
Sure, the law practice, they have to be careful because even if they hire lawyers, they can't really practice law. So they do the estate stuff up to a point and then refer it out to the lawyers.
Yeah. Or legal solutions or legal services, right? Not necessarily practicing law, but I know they have groups, some of these.
Litigation support you're talking about.
Yeah. That's right.
Absolutely. Now in France, for example, it's all merged.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. So the largest accounting and law firms are the same people by and large.
Huh. Interesting. And they don't have issues with that?
No, they don't. I mean, I don't know what the practical results are. I'm not familiar enough, but they don't have a legal problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Very good. So you are a New Yorker all the way through, right? Bred and born.
Other than college in Princeton, New Jersey.
Right. But essentially New York Metro.
Yes.
It's tough to get New Yorkers out of it's tough to get New Yorkers out of New York, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, we view New York as the center of the world, certainly the center of the financial industry.
Absolutely.
And has remained such, and hopefully will remain such.
I hope so. It's really the engine, I think, of the country. But we're getting a lot of New Yorkers where I live now in South Florida. I mean, it's the sixth borough, as they say, right? So you've probably spent some time down here.
I have. My father-in-law was down in Boca for many years.
There you go.
So I spent plenty of time in the area. It's very nice, and yes, unfortunately, a lot of our clients have moved there.
Yes, in fact, it's quite interesting. I mean, a lot of the big financial services companies are moving to Miami, or at least opening an office, or in Palm Beach. I'm right in between. Actually, Citadel just decided they're going to move to Miami from Chicago. Did you see that?
I did see that. We've done a little bit of work for Citadel over the years, not much, but yes, we certainly noticed that. But at least he left Chicago, not New York so much.
Right. That's quite a big move, though. I mean,
as was our client Elliott Management, who moved to Palm Beach.
Moved to Palm Beach, yeah. Interesting, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So what's your opinion on that? I mean, what do you think drives that? Aside from the obvious, probably.
Climate, there's no question that New York risks killing the golden goose and compelling people to move to Florida. But what precipitated immediately was the pandemic. And some people will change their minds. Some people, haven't been there in the summer. And there are issues with the quality of the schools, which I assume will improve over time, but they're not New York.
Right.
And I expect to see some come back, but I think a good number will not. New York shows no sign of changing its regulatory climate. By some measures, it's 49th in terms of business friendliness.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
Yeah, but from what I understand, anyway, New York is certainly rebounding and is vibrant again. Good things are happening.
Yeah, we have an apartment in the city, and it's bizarrely vibrant in terms of the number of people out on the streets and all that. I'm not so sure. It's now a younger demographic, and I'm not sure the restaurants will fully recover. And obviously, some businesses like dry cleaning are probably history.
Yeah. Where does my brother live? He lives on the east side. He's now around like Sudden Place area, but he's always been on the east side. And then I have other family that live on the west side, but I mean, I just see the Instagram stuff, and I just, I see the videos, and it looks like it's quite active again, which is nice to see.
Of course, crime is also up.
And crime is up. Yeah. And you got an interesting new mayor who's got a different approach to it. Hopefully that will prove well.
Yes, although we still have a DA who is very questionable in terms of his approach. He just indicted someone who apparently acted in self-defense, and yet he lets other people go.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Anyway, well, I'm rooting for New York. So, you obviously you found your place in law. What would you tell somebody if you have your children? I mean, what advice would you give someone who wants to go into law today? Would you recommend it, and what would you tell them?
I do generally recommend it. The problem with law is a lot of people fall into it. I mean, you can say I did that when I was 13, but obviously I had a lot of time to think about it between 13 and 22. And I knew what I was doing when I got into it. I wanted to do it. I had passion for it. Many people, unfortunately, major in English and don't know what to do when they go to law school by default, which is just a very bad idea.
Right.
Well,
isn't that a luxury though? Think about that. Wait, that's a luxury, right? I don't know what to do, so I'm going to go to law school. That's quite a luxury to have that, right?
Absolutely, but it's often a bad decision, and
Yeah,
many
yeah, yeah.
lawyers are unhappy. Many lawyers leave. Now, it is preparation for many other fields as well. It's the disciplined thinking and such, but it's just not worth going to law school, becoming an associate at a large firm, working very, very hard for a couple of years, and finding out you hate the entire profession, which
Right.
unfortunately is very, very common.
So what do you, I mean, what are the traits and skills that you need to love it and to be good at it?
Good question. All right. So first, you need to be willing to work pretty hard, not insanely hard, but you've got to really realize that your weekends will not be secure in many cases. That on Friday afternoon, a partner may walk into your office and say, here's how you're spending your weekend.
Right.
Or on some nights, you may have to stay up all night into the next day. It only happened to me a couple of times, but it's not pleasant.
Right.
You have to be able to tolerate a lot of very difficult clients. I mean, clients are sometimes completely unreasonably demanding. And although technology, we'll probably get into this later, but technology has helped in many respects. It's also made things more difficult in some respects. But obviously, people who do well at it, have a passion for client service and not doing the same thing over and over again. And there's some areas of law where you do the same thing over and over again. Mine is exactly the opposite. We do new things all the time. We don't have forms for everything. We have to write things. So being able to write and think clearly, obviously, is the most important part. Being able to navigate clients. You don't have to be a salesman, but it's also part of the job these days, at least at a law firm.
You have to get business. Are you responsible for getting new business yourself?
I'm not required to do it because I'm busy, but I was slow to be a good salesman.
Yep.
Because I wasn't good at selling something I didn't have yet, my expertise. So in my 30s, I was not good at it. But by the time I was in my 40s, I knew what I was selling. I knew what I was doing.
Yep.
And the business just came at that point.
So you got to be a problem solver. You got to be agile in your thinking. You've got to be able to deal with clients, and you have to have a lot of persistence. I would say, right? Is that correct?
Yes, persistence is absolutely required. Many have to go through different firms until they find a good place for themselves. You have to pick the right area of law. I mean, because litigation is very different than trust and estates. It's it's not at all the same skill set or the same experience.
Right.
I mean, litigation is fighting all the time, something I can't do.
Got it. It's interesting. So I would imagine, finding the right place, right? It has to be mutual, right? It has to be the right culture. You got to find the right type of law. It's kind of like a professor trying to get tenure at a university. It's not so easy, is it? I mean, how do you find that right fit? Is it sometimes just lucky? I mean, you obviously, you had one other firm, but you found your spot. I don't think that's typical, is it?
Nope, not at all typical. I was lucky that I wanted to be a corporate securities lawyer. I did not pick investment management. It picked me.
Okay.
And our firm got in on the ground floor of hedge funds, and it was a growth business. And it enabled me to work with some of the smartest people around, not middle management from some gigantic corporation.
Right.
But to really prove myself by working with people who are incredibly sharp.
So
and who respect lawyers.
I'm sorry.
See, in a lot of businesses, they don't respect lawyers.
Okay.
Lawyers are a problem. Lawyers are an expense.
Sure.
Investment managers appreciate lawyers, understand them, and respect them.
Really? Why is that?
Because they're smart. They know we help avoid problems. We're not just pushing paper. We're the so-called trusted advisors.
Okay.
And we're on an intellectual keel that's at least comparable with them, whereas many of the other people they deal with in life are not.
So they view you as like really partners in the business, not adversaries.
Absolutely. And even when they hire general counsels.
Oh, no. Interesting. So, I mean, when you say this, I mean, is that like a generalization, or you think most hedge fund managers are very bright people?
Most hedge fund managers, the ones who run the hedge funds, are very, very bright. I can say that with complete confidence.
Interesting. And how big is your sample pool? I mean, but you're probably dealing with a lot of the larger ones, I would imagine, not small. hedge
Well,
fund?
no, we deal with all size hedge funds. We deal with some of the very largest, and we form new ones all the time, and we don't know which ones are going to become big.
Okay.
So we meet often a 29-year-old who's forming a hedge fund, who has a strategy and an idea and a track record, but we have no idea if that hedge fund manager is going to grow. So many hedge funds we represent are small.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It's an interesting insight. I met someone recently that has a hedge fund. They just do cryptocurrency, and a really bright guy.
Right.
I mean, just a really sharp person. I mean, I didn't spend a whole lot of time, but it's very clear, the thinking, and, you know, just really quick. So that's interesting. I mean, you can't say that about most professions out with, you know, leadership. So there's
Not to
something,
the same degree, no.
yeah, not to the same degree.
And a hedge fund manager has to have often a couple of different skill sets that are rare, both detail-oriented and mathematical skills, and be able to sell themselves to people to raise money.
Right.
Extremely difficult to have both. So sometimes there'll be two people running a hedge fund, one who does the trading and one who does the business side and raising money. And that can work. But often it's one person, and it's an interesting skill set.
Yeah.
Because most people are either sort of down in the weeds analysts or business people. Usually it's not both.
Got it. And the hedge funds, particularly the small ones, are they, I'm getting the impression that they're more like quantitative as opposed to like traditional, like long, short, stock pickers?
Very much both. Not that many are just value long only, but long short is still very quantitative.
Okay.
To do the hedging, to analyze the companies. It's not the same as program trading or.
That's what I mean, like, you know, running algorithms and things like that.
Right. No, it's more strategic algorithms, you know, long-term growth in a company and measuring the intrinsic value versus the stock price.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of leading the witness here a little bit. I'm curious just because I get involved with it personally too, and I have my own approach through my relationship. So yeah, no, I just wonder with, you know, how predominant AI is in every industry today, you know, the new hedge fund manager, like how much they rely on algorithms as opposed to just more traditional, fundamental technical analysis approach.
Mm-hmm. Depends upon the strategy, obviously. And these quant funds have arisen, but it's still mostly stock picking on a hedge basis.
Okay. Yeah.
So the algorithms are not trading algorithms per se, they're valuation algorithms and producing signals to buy and sell, but not trading in milliseconds. There are those who do that, but that's not most of it.
Got it. Very good. Okay, I'll stop with the hedge fund analysis, but you got a particular interest in that. But okay, so let's talk about technology for a second. Obviously, you're dealing with lots of technology with the client base, but for the firm, I mean, how much do you leverage it to help you?
Well, for my practice, cutting edge technology is not that much of it, but going back, of course, my early days in practice, technology has revolutionized the practice of law. When I started, I was in the first class using LexisNexis, which predated Google.
Right.
And the big pressure of the day was not returning emails, but it was beating the FedEx deadline. So things have changed quite a bit since then.
Right.
And technology is best and lets you do things you couldn't do before.
Right.
Like searching, like getting advantage in litigation. But it's not so great when it's just slicing and dicing things you already could do and making more reports and making documents longer. So there it can be a downside. Plus, young associates have to be trained to not spend just too much time learning technology, but to learn traditional legal skills like reasoning and writing.
Right.
So technology is definitely a double-edged sword, but there's a great frontier there, big data, and certainly we use technology all the time, less in corporate than certain other areas, but it's there.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, in the old days, you're reading through you know, cases. Right now you get on Westlaw or some of these platforms that are just amazing, right? They just.
Right. When I first started, it was still the West Keynote system. Do you even know what that is?
I don't know.
It was an analog means of doing research, and it was incredibly difficult
Yeah,
and time consuming.
I just picture you going like this, you know, the library, lots of these journals you're going through and reading. I mean, you know, we those things don't exist anymore. If you go to college, say, I'm sure you've seen this, right? I mean, you know, libraries are basically places to get together and collaborate, less about, you know, the volumes.
Right. I mean, the NYU Law School Library looks nothing like it used to.
Right. But there's still books there. I've seen them myself. There are still books.
Many fewer books out there.
I think that's mainly for show, though, and like to bragging rights.
Sure.
You know what? University. I used to be in the higher ed business. University that publishes the most books of any university in the country. Take a guess. If you had to guess, it's a large university.
A large university, Phoenix. I don't know.
Michigan, University of Michigan.
University of Michigan.
At least they did at one point. Yeah, they published the most books out of any university. I think there's still some bragging rights to bound publications.
Right. You can still, right. In the U.S. News thing, the size of your library is still a factor.
Although I can tell you that, just again, we're on a tangent here, but the U.S. News and World rankings, it's really garbage. It's just headline, you know, clickbait. It's. I mean, people make decisions on that all the time, but that's not really the true metric.
I would agree. To some degree, though, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because people apply based upon what they see there. But if you compare the various rankings, since they differ so much, you can see that it's not scientific.
Yeah, it's definitely not. But anyway, it's every budding student is looking at those things to figure out where they want to go to school. I always laugh because I always say Michigan is like the coveted place for a lot of kids. Everybody has to go to Michigan. Anyway, it's a good school. It's a very good school. My daughter is actually in your neighborhood, upstate New York. It's Skidmore in Saratoga Springs. So
good school, right? The liberal arts model.
Yep. And my son is about to start at Drexel in the fall in Philadelphia.
My son is moving back from Philly this week.
Oh, really? Why is he moving back?
Well, he lives in New York and his job is based in New York, but his fiance was getting her PhD in psychology. And so she was interning there in Philadelphia.
Oh, good. Excellent. At Penn? Where was she?
No, her PhD is from St. John's.
Okay.
But her internship was at a
internship was in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did they like Philly? Like Philadelphia?
Liked it very much. She's from the Terminal area.
Okay.
And they like it, but they're moving back.
Okay, very good. I'm sure you're happy about that.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, well, excellent. I have to say you are the first, no, maybe not the first, but you're certainly the first that has spends a lot of time with hedge funds. So I enjoyed the conversation. And if somebody wants to learn more about you and your practice, what's the best way for them to connect?
Email me at msklar@kkwc.com.
Excellent. Well, great. So we'll wrap this up here. Thanks again, Martin Sklar from, again, I'm sorry, I got to read the name.
Kleinberg Kaplan.
Kleinberg Kaplan. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. I got to keep this in front of me. And this show is sponsored by EmotionTrac, and it is a legal tech platform that litigators primarily use to glean insights for trial and mediations. And thanks again, Martin.
Thanks for having me, Jonathan.
You bet.